But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950. Now showing at MIA, artist Mary Sully was a visionary ahead of her time. Born on the Standing Rock Reservation, she worked in near obscurity between the 1920s and 1940s, creating intricate, vividly colored drawings that blend Dakota heritage with modern life. Now on display at the Minneapolis Institute of Art, experience the first solo exhibition featuring Mary Sully's work and see how her art challenges traditional ideas of Native and modern art. Only at MIA and always free to visit. Learn more at artsmia.org.
Summer is fast approaching. How will your teens spend their days? Reconnecting Our Roots is a unique opportunity for Native American teenagers from the Twin Cities area. Students will engage in cultural activities and learn about Native histories rooted through Minnesota Makoche in a welcoming environment. The summer session runs July 14th through the 18th at the Minnesota History Center, and a stipend is available for those who attend each day. Learn more and apply now at mnhs.org/NAI.
Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas is your pathway to a bachelor's degree. Located in downtown Minneapolis, Doherty Family College offers an affordable education that includes free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, and a Metro Transit pass. As a full-time Doherty Family College student, you'll benefit from mentorship from St. Thomas faculty, along with paid internships and support from Minnesota's largest private college. Ready to turn your dreams into reality? Apply now at dfc.stthomas.edu. Doherty Family College, your journey to success starts here. With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 45, Thursday rain with a high near 57, and Friday partly sunny with a high around 61. If you're craving delicious Chinese food, head to the Great Wall Restaurant for handmade dumplings, sesame chicken, and mushu pork with homemade Chinese pancakes. Located at 4515 France Avenue South, learn more at greatwallrestaurant.us. That's greatwallrestaurant.us.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events. And as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Dick. This portion of the show is supported by JS Bean Factory off Randolph Avenue in St. Paul. Only the good stuff keeps us awake.
Ooh, I need some of that because I didn't have my nappy today, Haley, and you're going to probably have to hold up the whole show.
I know. Well, I haven't had like my 6th cup of coffee yet, so I need to get there still.
Oh, to be young. And then you put all those sweet things in there. And
just sweat it out. All the caffeine. Just sweat it out.
Nice. Jeez. That reminds me. Well, I had a story I think I told you years ago. I'd have my espresso machine on a timer and I'd have coffee, and I was having chest pains, and I went to the doctor right away that day, and they started asking me, you know, do you have these chest pains when you wake up? And I'm going, no. And she goes, when do you start feeling them? I'm going, dang, I'm drinking too much coffee. I start feeling them after 10th cup of coffee and 2 shots of espresso. So I had to back off a little bit back then.
Yeah.
I think I was in my 40s.
Oh yeah, it's like our bloodline. I remember like my native, no, seriously, like my native aunties and Gaga and everything back in the day when they would all get together, like no matter what time of the day it was, it could be 10 o'clock at night, and they'd still be sitting around the kitchen table just drinking coffee.
And smoking cigs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
the classic duo.
And talking crap.
Yeah.
Exactly. I hope they're not listening tonight. Hey, you know what? Let's switch up a little bit here. I just want to, before we talk about what month it is here in April. I was at the today's book day, which is really interesting, World Book Day, and I was at the Minnesota Book Awards last night, and it was awesome. The two Native Americans won, and also Kathy Coates, who did the book Banished that we always talk about. She was a runner up, and so it was a great night. It was pretty awesome.
It looked awesome. I was seeing on Facebook as they posted as the awards came out each time. I was waiting for Kathy there. I did see Marcy Rendon won genre fiction with her book Where They Last Saw Her.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, just so proud of her.
And there's so many fans for her, and we just like hang out with her at the
farmers market. Four Sisters.
Yes,
I
just chilling
know.
out.
Oh my gosh, we love her family. Simone Rendon, too, her daughter, is the owner of Edible Arts, and she makes her own handmade jams and stuff. And you can see both of them usually at the Four Sisters Farmers Market every Thursday at NACTI's parking lot in the summer months.
Yeah, and good on her, Marcy, and it's really cool to know her. And there's so many fans. I got to just tell you this before we get moving on here, is that one of the biggest fans for her is State Senator Mary Kunish.
Oh, yeah. She talks about her all the time herself.
Yeah, and she's an avid reader, of course, and then that was her job when she was in public schools, was a media specialist, and I'm old enough to remember when they used to call them librarians.
Librarians. I always loved going to the library in elementary school. I thought the librarians were like the best people, usually like women, but the nicest ladies ever. While we're talking about World Book Day here today on April 23rd, I was watching the news last night.
What?
I caught
wait, Gen Zs don't watch the news.
It was on. My dad was watching it.
Oh, you were walking by.
Happened to walk by. Yeah. Well, I paid attention because they said Birch Bark Bookstore, and I was like, hey,
What?
I know them. It's a Native bookstore. And there was this 10-year-old Native girl author who has a book in Birch Bark Bookstore. Her name is Kiki Garcia, and she is a 10-year-old Ojibwe author. She comes from the Magizi clan, the Eagle clan. Not sure exactly what tribe, but Kiki Garcia is the author of Fishing by Torchlight, featuring illustrations by Aaron Kant Barnard, I believe is the name. That's so amazing. Kiki's only 10 years old. She has a book. Kara Levin did a really great piece on her last night.
Wow.
Yeah.
On their website.
It should be. Yeah, they do have it in their store. I was trying to look up more information on Kiki here, but the main character in Kiki's book is actually her, and it talks about spearfishing with her dad in the dark. So yeah, it teaches about the Ojibwe culture, traditions, and language. She throws some language in there too. But you can get that one, Fishing by Torchlight.
That's a great segue for the rest of the show. Of course, we're going to have Arvina Martin on, and our Ho-Chunk friend, and also later on, Medicine River, a story of survival and the legacy of Indian boarding schools. We're going to have Mary Annette Pember on, and she's Red Cliff tribe of Wisconsin. And there's an event on Thursday that I will be there. Hopefully I'll have a nap, and then I'll be a little sharper than I am right now. And I will be hosting that Q&A and reading from Mary Annette Pember, and again, Medicine River, the story of survival and the legacy of Indian schools, boarding schools. And she'll be on later on in the show.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to her and get this book. I know her book released this week. You can search that one, Medicine River, Mary Annette Pember. But yeah, that was interesting. I was learning too, Medicine River, that's what they used to call Bad River, and then it got changed to Bad River. That's
Yeah,
what she was
that's
talking about.
that's
I don't know.
crazy. We'll have to talk to her. We'll have to quiz her on that.
Yeah, you're right. I wanted to give the address too for Birch Bark Books. That is 2115 West 21st Street, Minneapolis. And they
Again,
have more than just books. They have some native art there too that you can check out.
oh, very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Wow. Yeah. So what else? And also one of the things before we get too far into it, I want to talk a little bit about this month is April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and
Yes.
Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition is hosting honoring survivors traditional powwow this evening, Wednesday. Whoa,
Mm-hmm.
tonight.
Yeah. So I think 6 p.m. is registration. So get in your cars and get on over to the Crown Plaza. That's in Bloomington. The address is 3 Apple Tree Square, Bloomington, Minnesota. Kind of cool.
Wow.
7 p.m. is the grand entry time. And then they plan to wrap up around 10 with the traveling song.
Very cool. Jeez. I
Lots of
wonder
stuff
after
going
my
on.
nap if I can scoot over there for a quick intertribal. Oh, wow.
It'd be a good one to go to support. I know that they're doing they're wearing like purple and the teal fringes on the shawls to bring awareness to domestic and sexual assault survivors and MMIR and those murdered around Turtle Island.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I'll have to go check it out. Also, we're going to be heading over Friday to Dr. Stately's grand opening.
Native
Um,
American Community Clinic.
yeah, with
Yeah.
their new building and the groundbreaking. I don't know where they're going to dig it up. They must bring their own pile of sand because it's all tar parking lot where it's going to be. So that'd be hard to really shovel
Mm.
that up.
Yeah, I don't know if they've started the demolition process of their parking lot.
Right. And also Native Nations Fashion Show, and that's going to be Friday, April 25th, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the Intercontinental in St. Paul River, the Great River Ballroom there on 11 East Kellogg Boulevard, right downtown St. Paul.
Yeah, that one's going to be fun. This year's theme for the Native Nations Fashion Show is "I Am Water," and some of this year's designers: Amari LaRock, Angela Azur-LaRock, Judy Azur, Dr. Sage Davis, Lauren Aragon, Shannon Gustafson, and Delina White.
Right. And remember, everyone, Saturday, Ho Chunk World War II Cold Talkers Highway Dedication is happening in Wisconsin at La Crosse, the Welcome Center in La Crosse from 10 a.m. to 11:15. Be there or be square. This is Native Roots Radio, and up next, Arvina Martin. Ho! Wow.
Support for Native Roots Radio comes from the Walker Art Center, an art space that's more than the spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including Indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds, Cheyenne and Arapaho Nation, and Jim Demini Ojibwe. Additionally, films screen in the cinema, and performances are shown on stage. Free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org. Again, that's walkerart.org.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP, along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a to-go card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
Now showing at MIA, artist Mary Sully was a visionary ahead of her time. Born on the Standing Rock Reservation, she worked in near obscurity between the 1920s and 1940s, creating intricate, vividly colored drawings that blend Dakota heritage with modern life. Now on display at the Minneapolis Institute of Art, experience the first solo exhibition featuring Mary Sully's work and see how her art challenges traditional ideas of Native and modern art. Only at MIA and always free to visit. Learn more at artsmia.org. The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hi, this is Governor Walls. Thank you for listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Development Institute, or NACD, in Minneapolis.
Welcome back. Hey, it was a little slow on that microphone button there, Haley.
Well, you know how those elders move sometimes.
Yeah, I haven't had my nap. And hey, we have Arvina Martin, Ho-Chunk and Stockbridge, Muncie, Emerge, Wisconsin Executive Director. And we don't like to talk about the Stockbridge, Muncie part, but welcome.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. Thank you. I actually had found an article I'll have to send to Haley for the next time I come. We can talk about something cool Stockbridge that I saw and I forgot to send earlier.
Right on.
Preview for a future appearance. Stockbridge Muncie News.
Yeah.
Well, happy Earth Day, and that was yesterday. And then I don't know how do we say that, Haley?
Okay, Arvina and I were kind of talking about this through text earlier, and Ho-Chunk Academy put this out yesterday on Earth Day. I think it's Ma Hirakara Hamkebeske. Arvina, is that Happy Earth Day?
Yeah, that sounds like Hamp means day, and EPSK is like happy or pleasurable, or not pleasurable.
Wait a minute.
No, it's like nice, pleasing.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. And then Ma is like means earth too, because I know that, like we belong to the earth. How we say that would be like I think it's like Ma or no, I won't be able to say it. Ma Negi Hereda or something like that. But yeah, earth is Ma, which I think is really cool because it's like Ma, mother, Ma, and it's like earth is like Mother Earth.
Oh wow.
Yeah. One of the first sounds that babies start making is the and the kind of I think is
I think you're right.
Yeah.
You picked our Ho-Chunk word today. Do you wanna announce it?
Yes, that's
This came through my chat with Haley trying to figure out if we could figure out all the words in Happy Earth Day in Ho-Chunk. Is the word Ho GPSK.
Yeah.
Which means
EPSK.
What? I'm sorry.
You're good. No, you had it.
Oh, Ho GPSK, which means dolphin, or so Ho is fish and GPSK is like what we said, like happy or pleasant. And I saw the definition as agreeable. So I like thinking of dolphin as an agreeable fish.
Well, how do I join that clan?
I don't know. I was surprised. I found that word because I was going to an elementary school where they were unveiling, and this was like an elementary school with like the littles, like kindergarten through second grade, and they had an all school assembly to give their land acknowledgement and put up their plaque. All the schools in Madison are putting up land acknowledgement plaques, and they asked me to come in and speak. And last minute, somebody had gotten sick, their original speaker. And so I was trying to be like, oh my gosh, what do I say to these kids? They're all like 7 and younger, like 8 years old, or, like at the oldest. And I just last minute thought of like, well, I'll teach them a couple of things in like how to say hello or things in Ho-Chunk, and I looked up that their school mascot was the dolphin, so I quick looked up the dictionary app, RIP, and now it's just on the website, I think, but I looked up dolphin, just being like, I wonder if we have a word for that, and came across the very agreeable fish.
Sure enough, we had it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the word of the day. When are we gonna say all the words? Haley, what
I
is
don't
that gonna be
know.
some Friday where we just do the words and the
It's like a
definitions?
whole teaching segment. It'd be like a whole show. I don't
Hey,
know. We haven't done one. We haven't done a Ho Chunk word since Arvina was on. So thanks,
wow.
Arvina.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. Hey, Arvina, do you know anything about the Ho Chunk World War II Code Talkers highway dedication that's happening this Saturday?
I know that it's happening. It's not much more than that. I'm not sure what the program is, but I know that there have been other, like, didn't they do like a groundbreaking, and they've had
Mhm.
several other events. So this is a big deal to have a
Mhm.
section of interstate highway named for our Ho Chunk code talkers, and the section is near La Crosse, I believe, like
Yeah.
La Crosse to the border.
Yeah, the Welcome
Mhm.
Center in La Crosse, and Haley and I went past that when we went to the powwow down there, so it's pretty easily found. I have to give a shout out to Representative Christian White Eagle, who's been really pushing this, and she's a doer, and the nation's going to miss her because she's not going to be able to run again. She's been in for 2 consecutive, but I just think the world of her, and she is such a doer, and this is one of the things that she pushed through. One of the things too about the signs is that they're going to have the English version and the Ho Chunk version in it, and that just makes my heart sing to hear that.
Same. I like the fact that that we are having these opportunities to see our language in places where it's not just us. I know we have a St. Vincent de Paul store here in Madison, and they have their signs, that say the women's department, men's department, and children's shoes, things like that. And they have them in English, Spanish, Hmong, and Ho Chunk. And that was like the first time I had seen that, just in the wild, so to speak. So it was really exciting.
They have that like in Park Rapids and places in northern Minnesota. Some of those
It's wild
towns.
there too.
Yeah, it is wild there too. But they have like the Ojibwe language on some of their, like on their welcome signs. They have English welcome and then like the Ojibwe welcome. And it is always interesting to see it in places where like off reservation.
Well, before we get too deep on that, there's a couple things I want to get going in the segments flying. And Arvina, you've been watching North of North.
I just watched it this weekend. It was so good. It just made my heart happy to see, and in a different, it hits you in the heart, in a way that's different than Reservation Dogs. I think they're not similar, other than the fact that they're funny and they're telling Native stories. But I really liked the story. And who doesn't love a story of a young woman taking her independence and trying to forge her way, in the vein of like Mary Tyler Moore, so.
What's interesting too, and I'm sure you caught this, is like when she was, I don't want to really get into the too much away, but she was leaving her husband and she was worried about all her earrings.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's a Native thing for sure.
Yeah. Yes. That, and how you put them up, or like how you store them as well. Like that just made me think a lot, because I have all of my earrings hanging on a rack on my wall. So I was like, oh my God, I'd have to like take those racks down. And
yeah, I really liked it, and it was a heartfelt and a fun story, and a lot of culture thrown in there, and I really liked it. I binged on it, I think in 2 days. I watched it all, or 3 days.
Yeah, absolutely. It was kind of, it wasn't heavy, it was like a nice little sitcom, and just, I don't know, it just kind of made me feel a little bit of joy in this increasingly hellscape world that we live in.
Yes, today I want to say welcome, or today's World Book Day, and before we only got like a minute or two left here, I want you to be able to spit out a couple of your favorite Native authors, and then also give a shout out to how people can get involved with Merge Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh. I am absolutely blanking. But I know, oh my gosh, pressure. Don't you hate that? And your mind is just like blank slate. Like, huh.
Kind of like my daily when I talk to Haley. So I right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a Ho-Chunk-Gata. What's that one? Finding My Dance by Rhea Thundercloud.
Oh yeah. Yes, I have wanted to take a look at that book. There's also a book by Becky Webster and her husband on food sovereignty. They run a traditional farm over in Oneida. So they're having a book that's coming out too. I can't recall the name of it, and I wish I would have thought of that.
We'll quiz you on it next week, and also 30 seconds. Emerge Wisconsin.
Emerge Wisconsin, your premier location for training Democratic women on how to run for office. wi.emergeamerica.org. Check us out and consider running for office yourself.
Right on. Thank you so much, Arvina. Great to see you. I can't wait to see you until next week and hear about those books.
Yeah, 100%.
Right on. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back after this short break.
Hey, it's Patrick. Spring showers may bring May flowers, but they also bring big savings with Zero Res. And right now, you can beat the spring cleaning rush with big savings and priority booking by calling our heroes at Zero Res. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel, preparing your home for the brighter days ahead. Just check out the almost 21,000 raving customer service reviews online with a 4.9 Google rating and see what all the hype is about. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner starting at just $119 and take $75 off an air duct cleaning as well. You owe it to yourself and your family to breathe healthy, happy, and clean. Call Zero Res right now at 9520-RES or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Spell it backward or forward, it's the same. Zero Res.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. Or visit snapconstruction.com.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since 94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
Hi, this is Ken Hageland, host of Living Healthy and Aging Well, inviting you to listen to our live call-in talk show airing every Saturday from noon to 1, where we talk about your health and your life and provide insights you need to know to live and age well. Each week, we talk with guests who provide answers to important questions regarding healthcare, elder care, end-of-life care, and self-care for caregivers, and help you and your loved ones plan for the future and enjoy your highest quality of life today. Please join us every Saturday from noon to 1 on AM 950 for Living Healthy and Aging Well.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 45, Thursday rain with a high near 57, and Friday partly sunny with a high around 61. Next Chapter Booksellers is part of this Saturday's Independent Bookstore Day celebration. Get your passport, earn a stamp at Next Chapter Booksellers, and unlock 20% off future purchases as you explore amazing indie bookstores. Or nextchapterbooksellers.com.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas, Ho-Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Hey, we're always excited to have an author on, and we have an author named Mary Annette Pember, and she is a citizen of Red Cliff Ojibwe tribe and the author of Medicine River, A Story of Survival and the Legacy of Indian Boarding Schools. Hey, welcome, and we are so blessed to have you on here and talk about this story that's really has deep roots to everyone in Indian country, but you're speaking of your story about your mother and how it's affected your family. And I just want to say a big Peeny Gigi, thank you so much for being on.
Well, Bonjour Gakini Wuya. I said that wrong. It's Gakina Wuya. Bonjour Gakina Wuya. It's been a long day. I've been doing interviews all day, which is not common for me. I'm usually just burrowed down here in a bat cave, grinding away. But yeah, so today the book drops. So it's an exciting day.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to promote too, I will be introducing you and maybe even grilling you with a few questions at Moon Palace Books on Thursday. And that is April 24th at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Moon Palace Books in Minneapolis. And you will be speaking about your book. And I'm just excited. It's a great venue. And everyone come on out. It's free and check it out. This is a very important story. And let's start talking about this story.
Yes, well, the book, gosh, I feel like I've been writing it my entire life, really. I mean, my mother, told me stories about the sister school from my earliest memory. They were kind of my bedtime stories, really. And I'm the youngest and the only girl. And, somebody else is asking me, why did she only tell you and not tell your brothers? And I think a couple of reasons. One, because I'm a girl. But, I think at that time, there's a big gap between me and my brothers. And I think she felt safe, things had, my dad's business was going, decent. And I think, they had a house. And I think she finally felt safe and she felt that she could talk about that stuff. So she would tell me these stories, although sometimes she would, kind of add make herself the heroine, and it always ended, in a good way. And I don't think and then I found out later in real life, it didn't always end in a good way. So she put, a lot of shreds of truth in it, but I was told those stories from my earliest memory. And I always also knew somehow later then, as I became an adult and went off to university and so on, she, it was like this kind of gauntlet she threw down before me. And I was like on this quest to tell the world, about her life and some of the hypocrisy, that she experienced there at the sister school. So I talk about in the book, it's kind of a sweeping history of boarding schools. It's not like in depth. It's not like, Adam's book, which is, Education for Extinction, which is an incredible book and, very detailed. But I weave in my personal experience with my mom, who I think really had mental illness as a result of a lot of stuff that happened to her, untreated PTSD. She really suffered terribly. And certainly in those days, there was nobody to talk about to, and even the idea that one could talk about those things didn't exist. So, I began wanting to, figure out why our family was the way that we were and what troubled her. And it was difficult growing up with her. And it kind of began my interrogation into her life, and then became, an interrogation into the influence of boarding schools on Native people, and led to this book.
Yeah, I really like the brief histories, and I think a lot of people, and again, we're in that time of at least U.S. history where we have to be reminded and teach our allies out there what really happened to Native Americans, because of these boarding schools and during this boarding school era. The last boarding school that closed was 1996, and it isn't like history, dinosaur time. It was just our family's history.
There's still boarding schools now. I mean, I think, there's a number of boarding schools, Riverside and Pine Ridge. I think that boarding school is still going. On the whole, they've changed obviously quite a bit. But, they've kind of become, I think it's, an accepted experience for a lot of people. Some people kind of generationally go to them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and there's things that happened and to our relatives, and I know my Chujunk here, we have our own history with our nanny being in boarding school, and her father, you know, uh, breaking her out basically and bringing her home, but that isn't really the case. There was a lot of trauma in the sense of them have to go to boarding school, can't speak your language, all these things that really put down the spirit of our elders and our relatives.
And I think, it's interesting. A lot of the interviewers want to talk about that I've been doing today. I always want to talk about the real ugly stuff. They want to hear about the beatings and so on. And yeah, that really did happen. I mean, my mother was beaten a lot, but I think in some ways almost worse was just this message that you received that you were just bad as you were, that being Indian was not, you needed to get rid of that. And so as you are, you were just a priori kind of a bad person, and you needed to recover from that. And that, sent a really bad message to people, I think. But then, also there were different, there were different experiences like there are in every kind of experience like this. I think it depended on when you went, where you went. There were often cases people you would go and there'd be people from your community there, or maybe even, cousins and other family members. And in those cases, people, I think they did a lot better. And then even sometimes, they say there's all this kind of research that they have and data proving that even if a child is raised in a really difficult environment, you really only have to have one adult like that will treat you in a really good way and speak positively to you. And sometimes there were good teachers there and still are. I mean, people that would lift kids up. And my mom even did talk about having a couple of teachers, that did encourage her. So those kinds of things, we're such humans, we're such survivors and so resilient, especially children, even a little bit of positive messaging can help us. So I guess what I really do want to say, it was not just like a uniformly, horrendous negative experience for everybody. It was complicated and diverse.
Well, she spent her time at age 5 away from her family. And I think that erasure again of, we as natives are our aunts or our mothers, and how our relationships are with our families was taken away, and it's hard for our relatives to be a mother if they're not showed how to be a mother.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about that, and yet my mom, she didn't have that model of a family, and she really really wanted it, but she didn't get that, and I think a lot of our people don't get that, or haven't gotten that, and you don't do so well if you don't have that, and I think some of that has been passed down among our people. My mom, she had such a difficult time, demonstrating affection, and it was not, it was just not normalized for her. She was really quick to assign blame. It was like, that was always one of her big goals, and making a mistake was just, I mean, even a minor mistake was something she would go on and on about, and I think she must have just experienced that quite a bit, when she was at the school, just a real intolerance for mistakes.
Yeah, or getting blamed for the mistake, wrongly blamed. Who knows what happened? That's one of those deep, deep things. So, how did your relationship with your mother change over the years? Can you fill us in a little bit on that?
Yeah, I think I for a long time I was really hurt and angry with her, because she could be really cruel, and I drank over it, for a number of years, and then at some point, that just really kind of stopped working for me, and I got into recovery, and that really helped me, gain some perspective on her. But it took a long time. I had an AA sponsor who assigned me to pray for my mother every day, with no specific kind of ask, just to pray for her to have peace.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Those pesky AA sponsors, they want you to do those things that really help yourself by helping others, and that's an amazing thing. Is pray for others, especially if they have some kind of resentment.
Yeah. So I started doing that, and and I kind of got tired of it, but I just did it. That was it was my assignment, so I did it. And I like to say one day, kind of like this wand kind of just descended from the sky and like hit me on the head, and I just stopped being angry with her. It just went away, and I was able to stop blaming her for everything, and I got over myself a little bit, and I was able to kind of see her as another person, and finally I was able to forgive her, although still I can get myself worked up and be mad at her for some of the stuff that she did. But it just, I think I got some perspective on it. And after learning, especially all the stuff that happened to her, I got to thinking, gosh, no wonder the woman behaved in this way. So, it was like, and I often do tell people, I mean, if you don't remember anything from what I've talked about to you, remember that going forward. It's been a really useful, helpful thing for me.
Hey, we're here with Mary Annette Pember, and we're talking about her book, Medicine River, again on Thursday, the 24th at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Moon Palace Bookstore. We'll be celebrating the release of Medicine River. This is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back after this short break.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Everyone knows I love Rudy Luther Toyota, but do you know who else loves Toyotas? Consumer Reports. They're out with their best of 2025 auto issue, and once again, it reads Toyota, Toyota, Toyota. Of the new 2025 models, Consumer Reports recommends the Prius, Corolla, Corolla Hybrid, the Camry, the Sienna, the Corolla Cross Hybrid, the RAV4, the RAV4 Hybrid, the Highlander, and the Highlander Hybrid. In almost every class, you'll find a Toyota. Find one for yourself at Rudy Luther Toyota, the southeast corner of 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP, along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a to-go card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
Support for Native Roots Radio comes from the Walker Art Center, an art space that's more than the spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including Indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds, Cheyenne and Arapaho Nation, and Jim Demini Ojibwe. Additionally, films screen in the cinema, and performances are shown on stage. Free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org. Again, that's walkerart.org.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
In this portion of the show, we like to bring awareness to our Minnesota wolf population. Say no to the hunts. How?
Oh! Hey, we are here with our friend Mary Annette Pember, and she's an independent journalist, and she has a book coming out, Medicine River, and it will be showcased at Moon Palace Bookstore, and I'll be there on Thursday, April 24th at 6 p.m. And please stop by and listen to this important story and also buy a book. Welcome back. And Haley, you had some good comments here.
Oh, yeah. We're here with Mary.
Excuse me. I did want to make a correction. I'm not independent anymore. I'm actually national correspondent for Indian Country Today, which is now called ICT News.
Yeah, we love them.
Right on. Oh, okay, cool. Moon Palace Books sent me the wrong bio. Darn them. Cool.
That's the old one. That's the old one, I think. From I don't know where that came from.
We'll write you a new one.
Exactly. Haley, you had a good response during the break.
Oh, yeah. We were talking a bit about the book, and Mary, you were talking about your mom and her experience attending boarding school. I would love to know kind of where you, your family grew up and what school you're talking about that your mom attended.
Yeah, so my mom grew up on the Bad River Reservation in northern Wisconsin, not far from Ashland. It's actually now called Mashkazibi, Medicine River. And she lived in the little town of Odena, which is still there, obviously, and it actually means a village in Ojibwe, Ojibwe-Wabamin. And she went to St. Mary's School, I think it was originally called St. Mary's Indian Industrial School. At different times, the name has been changed to St. Mary's Indian Mission School, but it's a very old school. It was established like in the 1880s. And kind of on the cusp of the big push of the timber industry and so on into Wisconsin, and as they were building the railroads and stuff. So it was still kind of considered a wilderness when those sisters first came to establish the school. So my mom was born and raised there. She went to sister school there until like 8th grade, and then she went to Flandreau Indian School. And she graduated. She had a high school diploma, and she was very proud of that. After a period of time, she actually met my father, who's a non-native man, and they were married and lived in Janesville, Wisconsin, which is where I grew up, which is a town south of Madison.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's the suburbs there. So let's talk a little bit more too. How are we concluding this? Well, first of all, let me say this to our listeners: where can somebody get the book that's not in the Twin Cities? Because we're all over Turtle Island, and people are interested in this. Where can they purchase this book?
Well, it should be available like at any any bookstore. Of course, one can purchase it online at that really large vendor that many of us shop at. And I guess I'm trying not to shop at that so much, but I mean, there's a lot of
Right.
independent bookstores. I mean, I think if you just typed in Medicine River and my name, I think you could find a good place to buy the book.
So you've been saying earlier, people you've been doing a lot of interviews. What is one of the most asked questions?
Well, non-native interviewers really want to hear about all of the horrible details. They want to hear that it was all just sort of this uniform experience, that all of those Indians just got beaten and
Hmm.
mistreated.
Right.
And they really want to emphasize that how everybody was forced, and they were, and there were different experiences though. But I find that really interesting that they really just want to hear about the worst of the worst, and I don't know what that's about. I think early on, especially, particularly in the 19th century, it was pretty bad. I mean, I think they would just show up and drag you off, and especially those early schools were very militarized, like Carlisle and so on. I mean, they would just cut your hair off and dress you up in these little uniforms and, change your name. And I think, things did change, over the years. And I think especially into the 20th century, although, it still was it was a harsh experience, I think, for most people. It really was. And, and there was really no regulation. There was no oversight, and a lot of places were kind of located in remote areas. There certainly wasn't anybody out to oversee how they were treating those children. They really worked kids a lot. And if what I found really interesting in doing research about just even the early settlers coming to this country and the church missionaries along with them, they were just so frosted that us Indians didn't work all the time.
Yeah.
Drove them crazy that we would like, I think we binge worked sometimes, something we were harvesting or so on, or cooking, syrup or whatever, but then when there wasn't work, people would visit and just flat out frosted those people. And they would always talk about that Indians needed to acquire the habit of hard manual labor. And that was kind of part and parcel of civilization. That would change us and that would better us.
Hmm.
And that even that was very early on, even in the 1500s. But then even later, I saw that kind of language, like the guy, Thomas Kinney, who was the first, head of the Indian Bureau. I forget what they originally called it. I've got all this stuff kind of written around my room so I can refer to it. But he talked about gaining the habit of labor. But not labor that really was satisfying and like produced anything that you would necessarily find enriching. They just wanted to kind of break your spirit. I felt like, it was really kind of that message. I think we were just kind of, I think we were just having too much fun in some ways. Yeah. Well, I think that we were kind of, we actually, embraced some happiness in humanity. And I think in some ways that kind of outraged them. We needed to suffer more.
Yeah, I believe that. So what are people going to take out of this book that possibly don't know about the boarding school experience, but also people that do know the boarding school experience? What are the two takeaways?
Well, I think for people who don't know about the boarding school experience, although, this is like kind of one of the naughty words now, like a DEI
Right.
the history of this country is one of entrenched racism. And, the things that happened, were really, people did some pretty regrettable things, that as well, the very complex history of, that boarding schools were really just part of the assimilationist federal policies that wanted to really separate us from our resources and land. And then they figured one of the most effective ways to do that was just to make us stop being Indian so that we could work for them. And then I think the other thing that just really a better view of history. I know it's complex and not altogether pleasant, but I think that, people are grown up enough to learn about that. And then I think the other message that is kind of universal that I hope people would take away is just the experience of learning more about your own family, your parents, and what their lives were like, particularly if you had a difficult childhood or something. And I think most of us have had something. Everybody, what is it? The famous saying, "We're all unhappy. Each family isn't happy in its own unique way." I think Dostoevsky said that, but I think everybody has something they want to deal with their family, and that finding out more about your parents can be tremendously helpful and enlightening when you find out about what they've gone through, and getting a better view of their humanity. And I think that it really can benefit us, and I think it benefits just about anybody.
Wow, that's read Medicine River by Mary Annette Pember, and that's come to Moon Palace Books on April 24th from 6 p.m. on, and I'll be there. Mary, a big Peeny Geeky, love to get you on for maybe a whole show when things settle down for you a little bit. This is amazing, and you're a great guest.
Oh, miigwech, thanks for having me.
Right on. Hey, if you're listening to the show, you're part of the resistance from Chief Plentycoops, the ground on which we stand on. It's sacred ground. It's the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, read a book. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.